Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Gracie of Graceful Healing. So excited to sit here with you today as I have been inspired to talk about this topic that's been coming up in my awareness. It really is a transformation of awareness of where we're at today as a collective, as our own truth. And I sat with this for a while and I was asking my team, how do you want me to share this information? And for me, I get downloads and inspiration through the shower, or whether I'm in the bathtub. It's always in water. And it's so beautiful because water is this sacred. There's so much sacredness in water. It's a transmitter, right? It's cleansing, it's healing, it's clarifying all the stuff. So a lot of my information happens when I'm in the shower because I am talking to spirit. I am talking to my higher self. I'm cleansing my aura. And one of the inspirations that came in, an awareness that came in yesterday as a download, was around the fear mongering and where we are at, not only in the States, right? I live in the States, I live in Northern California, but it's also happening around the world. And so when I was developing my one of my mentorship offers, the soul's voice journey, I talk a lot about the power of our words. I talk a lot about owning your truth, understanding your truth and your belief systems, right? We uncover different aspects. When I put a thought out to the world of spirit about the power of our words, there was this huge realization and information coming in as a download of how different parts of the world, teachings for centuries, since the beginning of time. And it showed me this, like the old time when projectors, I don't know if you guys, I'm dating myself, but there used to be these little square slides and you would put them in and it would project as a movie or a screening. And that's what I was seeing. And it was like throughout the centuries of how the fear monger, the criticism, and the persecution comes in when we speak our truth, when we stand in our knowledge, our wisdom, and speak from our authenticity, right? We know what our authenticity is, what our ethics are for ourselves, right? And what it showed me, what spirit showed me was how different teachers, when they showed up to teach, whether it's publicly, historically, it's been happening for centuries. And I could talk about the main one that a lot of people, a lot of religious people use as example is Jesus. And I have studied, I was raised in a religious household. So I have teachings from that structure, but also understanding my connection with Jesus outside of religion. And what I could speak on, what I was shown is on how he was persecuted, right? He was murdered because he went against the Roman Empire. And for speaking and sharing his wisdom and his knowledge and his teachings, and they couldn't control him. So what did they do? Right? The teachings come in. Whether you're studying Jesus or it's new to you, I just take the teachers, right? And it's Buddha was persecuted. It was the Dalai Lama. There are so many teachers that have Mary Magdalene, right? It's like they completely pulled her out of a lot of the teachings because of who she was. Let's talk about the women wound, the witch wound, right? Persecution and creating this fear that their teachings, because they were self healers and they wanted to bring healing to the world, same like Jesus, same like Buddha, same like Dalai Lama, all these teachers, right? They were persecuted and singled out because it didn't go with the status quo of the empires or government, and they couldn't silence them. So what did they do? They made him a monster of, except for Jesus. They changed that around too, but that's a whole different teaching. But I wanted to bring this in because what Spirit showed me was in our times where we are at right now of, and it has been for centuries. Let's start because they also showed me when the Europeans came to the Americas, right, to find the new land. The land was always here, and it wasn't new, it was new to them. But the keepers here, the indigenous people that, were here before the Europeans, the colonizers came here, they lived on the land, they knew about the land, but they were persecuted too because they didn't fit their status quo. And that sun's coming in again. Sorry about that, but the sun keeps trying to pop in. And I'm just going to have to leave it. I'm not going to edit it as much. So when I was in my visualization, they were showing me the persecution of indigenous people and how the, I'm going to use the term, excuse me if I offend anybody, the Europeans, the colonizers come in and say the Indians were savages and they were murderers and rapists and all this stuff, right? And they knew to continue to repeat this fear mongering. And so people started believing it. Sorry, sorry about that. I had to figure out how to block the sun from coming in. But it was showing me the beginning of times of Americas. And I say Americas because there was no borders. There wasn't Mexico and the United States and Canada. It was all one nation, right? Different bands of indigenous cultures and languages. You got the Lokotas, you got the Pomos, you got the Apaches. They were all, there was no borders. They all lived in their lands. And until the colonizers, the Europeans came and discovered America, they fearmongered, right? They fearmongered all the people coming over, stereotyped the indigenous people to say that they were savages. And that wasn't the truth. But they understood because they came from a culture that was embedded with fear. And so these people come over. This is my knowledge. This is my teaching. Take what resonates, what doesn't. But this is what Spirit was showing me. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Because then fast forward to now in the present moment, to I live in the States and we're hearing the same fear about the immigrants. And it's so loud and it's so prominent. And there is so much division happening and it's on repeat over and over. And so I had to take a breath and I was just like, oh my goodness, what do you need me to understand this? What would you like me to express about this? And it's about understanding your roots, understanding your truth and your beliefs. We are our highest authority of what we consume. And because it's so loud out there right now and so prominent and it's so inundated with this fear mongering over and over, because I truly believe that the people that are in government or higher standing has been happening for centuries, maybe in the beginning of times, if we really do our research, they understood the power of repetitiveness of saying something over and over and over, and how people can be controlled in fear and flocking to that fear and creating separation because it takes away from owning your higher authority, understanding that we all are connected. Okay, I'm going to slow down a little bit because I'm so passionate about this because it has been a teaching in my awareness throughout my life of a division and separation of self, of my community, of my heritage, of my culture, and also in my communities where I grew up, in my own family and with myself. I didn't know my identity. And so it became a lack of worth for myself. And it's coming back to my truth and my awareness. And knowing my highest authority. So when Spirit was bringing this in, I'm like, oh, how would you like me to express this? And it's understanding the power of your words, understanding that we are our highest authority. We can show up in a different way. And another thing they showed me is how they bring in division of unity. And they showed me this happened earlier this year. And at the time it happened, I was so angry and upset because unfortunately celebrities have this platform and a lot of people look up to celebrities. And this is where we have to take our inner power back, our highest authority back. And we got to stop idolizing. This is just my truth. So thank you for allowing me to speak my truth. But this is just coming in through my awareness, and I feel called to share it. So there was a moment where Beyonce wore a Buffalo Soldier t-shirt, and it created so much division between the two cultures, the Hispanics or the Latinos or the Mexicans and the Black people, the African Americans, because there's so much history there. But her statement, wearing that t shirt, whether she was proud or not, and that's her truth. But what I saw on the outside, and I know it within my heart, this is just my truth, that she wanted to cause division because, and this is why I say this, because I'm an observer. I observe things and then I sit with it, and I am my highest authority. So I don't consume a lot. I get snippets here and there and I sit with it. I do take everything to spirit because when it triggers me, I do like, why is this triggering me? How can I see it beyond my illusions of fear or anger and frustration? And when I ask these questions to the world of spirit, they drop inspiration through my heart and trying to see it through a different lens. And there was so much gathering and support and unity to fight, to stand against the oligarchies, the political, all the stuff that's been happening in the States. And to have that one woman with her platform create a store, whether it's she wanted to be in the headlines or whatever, but to create a division of colored people supporting each other got me angry. And then I had to take a step back and, oh, this is part of that fear, right? They don't want us to support each other. They don't want us to be in unity with each other, because then we get to have our voices be more heard and powerful as we support, whether we are coming from different backgrounds. That's what the beautiful message is honoring our truth so we could honor other people's truth and not adapt what's right and what's wrong. It's building this new an awareness of understanding that we're all on our journey to understanding our truth, to our liberation, to freedom, right? For each and every one of us. And what does that look like for us is understanding who we are as individuals and as a collective. When we understand who we are and honor and stand on our power of our truth, knowing that there's many avenues, there's many truths, and calling out the bullshit is okay, but long as we're not lowering our standards to meet them standing. And I feel this is one of the biggest messages. This is a time to take a step back, to pause. Okay, I'm not going to consume all this fear mongering. I see this is on repeat and it's really potent. I'm not an astrologer, but we all hear the astrology and they're all saying there is massive change. We're in the 9 year of endings and beginnings, right? I think 9 is all the endings and we're going into a new beginning starting next year, 2026. And as I feel into this, even witnessing it within myself, I was like, oh, there is a lot of endings. There's a lot of old beliefs being released. So I could evolve in my belief system, what supports me as I evolve, and also evolving within myself and meeting the collective. And what I have been witnessing this year is truly seeing myself in the collective. How am I contributing to bringing awareness, speaking my truth, and also listening with the soft part of my ears and seeing where and understanding where other people are coming from. And it doesn't make it right or wrong if their experience, because to be honest, we're all living through our lived experiences. It's going to take time to evolve. It's going to take time to let go of stuff that has been embedded through our lifetimes and many other lifetimes, and seeing the repeated cycles and being truthful with yourself. Is this serving me? And when I go out into community, is this serving the community? Where am I bringing in the fear? Because we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. And it doesn't mean everything, right? It's truly looking at yourself and being like, okay, I am the change. I am the change. And I used to sit with that and be like, how am I going to be the change? And it's changing how I navigate my life, how I see myself. Because Gracie today wasn't Gracie 10, 15 years ago. I had a lot of fear. I had a lot of limiting beliefs. And then when I showed up in the world, those were the reflections I was giving out. There was a polarity though, because I knew what it felt like to feel alone. So even though I felt alone, and I wasn't truly alone because I had my family, but there was an inner loneliness because that was my lived experience. And I carried that belief for a long time. So I tried to not allow other people to feel alone in the sacrifice of my my awareness and sacrificing my people pleasing and all this stuff. But as I evolved in the knowledge where I'm at now, I'm a student for life. I'm going to continue to evolve. I'm going to ebb and flow. I just walked out of a dark night of the shadow period and into where I'm stepping forward. I'm still there, but I'm still, okay, communing with spirit, communing with people around me, and with myself first and foremost. The one thing that keeps showing up on repeat in my life is share these inspirations, because I've been silenced. I silenced myself because it was like, what does Gracie have to share? And it's really understanding our awarenesses, our teachings, our learnings is here to share with others, to support and to have conversation and to keep it, not to be rigid and nope, this is what it's giving me. Like I'm sharing so we can have conversation, and you'd be like, oh yeah, Gracie, this is what I got from it, right? Or no, what do you think about this? Our awareness, our teachings, our learning continue to evolve with each other and for self. So when spirit brought that to me, I was really mind blown. And it's like, okay, how do I share this teaching that they just taught me, this awareness? Because we can go into panic mode, into fear mode. And I've learned to slow down and bring balance. When I feel my nervous system being triggered, I shut down the phone. I shut down and I go outside. I know me going out in nature restores and rebalances my nervous system, rebalances my heart, and I connect back to myself. So I invite you, when you are activated in your nervous system, find practices to slow down. Ask your heart, ask your body, what do I need? Does it mean connecting with other people? Is it giving yourself gratitude? Is it going out in nature? Coming back to self and knowing that you are supported. We're here to support each other and ourselves. We don't have to consume everything. And know that we are in change. I'm like in a year of change. And as we support each other through this navigation, we learn to navigate our awareness and our truth and stand and know that our words carry power and healing, right? It's coming back to that knowledge. How you speak to yourself is how you're going to speak to others, right? Knowing the difference between your soul voice and your ego voice and bringing them to balance. Your ego's here to bring you discernment and teachings that you have walked through in this lifetime and many lifetimes, and bringing the balance, understanding, and compassion, because sometimes we can't catch that ego voice right away. And it's okay. I need to work on slowing down, connecting back to breath, connecting back to my truth, and knowing that you can pivot at any time, right? We always have chances and moments. Every morning we wake up is a new start, and how we wake up and how we go to sleep are two vital ways of reprogramming the conditions that we were programmed to do, right? We were taught like so much awareness is coming around. Oh, this is not even my belief system. And I never knew that. I'm 51. I'm like, I'm 41. Many moons, 10 years ago, I had this conversation about my spiritual awakening wasn't into my mid 40s. And that's okay. I feel that our spiritual awakening is always evolving, but to answer the call. And I answered the call in my 40s. I look back now and it's, oh, I had moments of spiritual awakenings, but I didn't understand that. And there were still lessons to learn. Yeah, coming back to the teaching of the fair mongling of the presence time, it has been a condition, and it's coming really strong because what spirit showed me is a lot of people as a collective are wanting change. They're seeing the hurt that this is creating. They're like, no, we're coming back to honoring our voices, honoring our diversity in each other. And that's such a beautiful thing. We just got to understand, when we honor ourselves, we learn to honor others. And that's the reciprocity of each other, the oneness of each other. So I hope this brings you support. And if you feel free to, if you feel called to share your awareness around what I just shared, or if you have different perspectives, I would love to hear about them. And I'm going to close this with a card pull from Asher Frost, Animal Elder Oracle deck. And I love these two cards. They came flying out. We got 44. We got Elder Wolf, protect your energy. And this is what I'm talking about, is understanding, like when we feel activated or triggered, our nervous system is out of control and we feel that anxiety. It's coming back and protecting your energy. And what I say, look at the beautiful, I don't know if you could see it. Let me see. Look at the elder in the moon, grandmother moon, stirring up our sacred waters, cleansing it out, protecting, and knowing that we are protected. It's coming back to knowing that we're supported as we continue to evolve. And you have your highest authority, right? Wolf walks with in its authority. It doesn't question. It walks away from and navigates life in its power, and knowing that you are your highest authority, and to ask for that support when you do feel triggered for extra protection from spirits. Ask Mother Earth to hold you and transmute any energies that is not serving you, and transmute it back into light. And we're going to have a full moon in Aries coming up soon. So take that time to burn away anything that's not serving you and step into your elder wolf. Look at elder wolf is just howling to the moon and thanking for the protection and the awareness and guidance. Wolves are nocturnal, they're showing me, and they stand and they know they're protected as they're navigating their journey, and know that we are being protected and navigated. And it's number 44, right? 44 is a powerful angel number. We are protected in this journey, and it's coming to that awareness, thanking our team, thanking Creator and Mother God for protecting us, right? And asking for the extra support when we feel triggered. And the next card, I got Elder Blue Jay, speak up. This is the time to speak your truth if you feel called to, whether it's on a platform, in your communities, with yourself. It's time to speak your truth. Open your heart. Let your words go through. Is this supportive? Is this serving? Is this, am I speaking out of my integrity? Am I speaking through my soul voice? And pausing when it's your ego voice. We're not here to do any harm. We're here to support, right? Even when you have to speak hard truth, there's a way of doing that, right? Your ego voice will condemn and hurt and criticize and judge. But speaking through your soul voice, it's here to speak the truth of non judgment, non criticism, and speaking through love. Allow those words before you speaking them to run through your heart. And speaking up, calling out the bad stuff is not a bad thing, but it's not lowering yourself to their standards. Speaking it, oh, what's coming through right now is, and I've spoke about this every time I talk about injustices. And one of the teachings that I will be talking about too that came through with this is Mother Teresa in her time. I think it was World War II or one, I forget. I have to look it up. But what it's teaching me is, I want to say it was World War II. She was an activist, but she wouldn't protest anti-war. She wouldn't go to rallies for anti-war. She said, if there's a protest for peace, I will be there, because she understood the energies of protesting, of what you bring your energy to. And this was an awareness that when I started learning, like, you don't meet people at what we're hearing as fight fire with fire. Absolutely not. Now you're lowering your standards to theirs. You fight fire with water, with earth, whatever element that you can distinguish that fearsomeness, right? Yes, we have that fire within us, but we're not going to lower ourselves to the lower vibrations and fight fire with fire. I used to do that. I used to hold it, and then word vomit came out, and it wasn't good words. It was the ego words. So, Elder Blue Jay is here to speak your truth, right? When you see Blue Jays, they're singing their song, they're joyful, they're happy, they bring message from loved ones. It's that higher vibration, right? So speak, share your wisdom, share your knowledge, share your truth, share your inspiration. That's what we're here to do as a collective, but also speak truth to yourself. The great I am. We are the vessel. We are the temple of the divine source. We have that within us. And when we speak our truth, we are able to speak our truth with confidence and courage and charisma of the seas. So I hope this message supports you. I will sit with this also as I allow it to evolve and sink into my heart. And I thank you for being part of Graceful Healing. Thank you for being part of this YouTube channel. If you feel called to share, like, subscribe, I appreciate you. Until next time, have a beautiful day.